Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Scotland. Thanks for coming back again today, and today I'm going to show you how I made this tiny little treat bag here. It uses just a 6x4 piece of designer series paper, one small piece of card, and I'm continuing this week with the Flowers for Every Season theme. I'm making a few projects with that, and sorry not sorry, it gives me an excuse to use my favourite in colours once again. So I'm going to show you how I made this. This is using the Flowers for Every Season designer series paper, the 6x6 pack, which I have shown in other videos, and this is Magenta Madness, the cardstock over the top of the bag, and Magenta Madness ribbon as well. So I'm going to use Misty Moonlight this time, and I'm going to show you how I made it. So like I said, you need a piece of DSP which measures 6 inches by 4 inches. If it's a directional paper you've got, you want the direction of the pattern going up and down the way while you've got it in landscape mode. So along the long side you want the pattern to be going up and down the way. So let's do some scoring. I'll bring in my scoreboard. And on the long side you're going to score at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 4 1/2 and 5 1/2, and then you're going to turn it to the short side and you're going to score at 1, and that's all the scoring done. So we'll fold and burnish on our score lines. I've already ordered another pack of this paper. I just love it. I love it. I can't see me being done with it anytime soon. But I now have my annual catalogue pre-order. So next week I'm going to start some Christmas in July projects. And some will be Christmassy and some won't. So having folded and burnished, as always, on this 1/2 inch section at the end here, you always have that little rectangle in the corner that you want to remove, and just a little nick at the top. And then you've got 2 squares and 2 rectangles, and we're going to cut up keeping the straight edge on the rectangles because they're going to be seen on the outside of the box. So you're removing the score line onto these 2 little squares here, and these are the parts that we're going to notch because they're going to form the little tabs that go to the inside of the bag. You've seen me do this before, and other demonstrators too. So I'm really excited to start using the bits and pieces from my pre-order. The new catalogue goes live in August this year, or from this year rather than from September, so it gives everybody longer to prepare their Christmas bits and pieces, and Halloween for that matter as well, because Halloween is always in the autumn winter catalogue if you celebrate Halloween. So I've just done my notching, and I'm now adding tape to what will be the last part of the bag to go down, so that's the front flap, and then I'm going to add some tape to these little flaps here just to make sure that it all stays stuck together. I'll fold my bottom flap in, or the back flap in first, and I just want to put a piece of tape along the folded edge here. Just use my ruler again to get a nice straight edge. There we are, and then all we need to do is just pop this together. So give it a little rub, take the backing off, just turn that little bit over, and then this should go together perfectly like so. And then I'm going to remove the tape on these smaller flaps here. And then I'm going to fold the back flap in, then the two side flaps like so, and before I put it together I'll just make sure I keep its shape and just give that a rub, and then take the backing off the front flap and fold that down last. There we go, and that's my bag made. So before I do anything else, I've got a little bit of overlap there, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I've pre-cut a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock using one of the stitched oval shapes from the Stitched Shapes framelits. These, like I said in a previous video, I've had for a long time, hence the older packaging, but I've used the second from the outside, the second largest oval, which is here. And while we're at it, because I've had them for so long and used them so much, they kind of fall about all over the place, so I'm just going to put this one away before I lose it. They are still in the catalogue, but I don't want to have to buy another set if I don't have to. So I pop that one away just now, and it's just under 3 inches across the long way, so I need to score this in half. So I'm just going to bring my scoreboard back in for a minute and getting it as straight as I can on my scoreboard. It's 2 3/4, so I'm actually going to score it in half at it's not even straight, is it? That's better. 1 3/8, I think it is. There we go. So just give that a couple of scores, and that's pretty much scored in half. So I'm just going to fold it, and it doesn't matter that it's not exact, because one part's going to go on the front of my little bag and one part's going to go on the back. So before I do anything else, I'm going to stamp my little hello, and that is from the Forever Fern stamp set. It's a cling stamp set, so it's the red rubber, and I'm just using this little stamp here, which I've already got mounted on a block. I'm going to grab my Misty Moonlight ink, and these haven't long arrived, so I've not even got as far as prepping them with the coloured stickers yet, so I'm glad I'm not using a few of them all at once, because I wouldn't know which was which. And then just keeping that as straight as I can on my grid paper. I want to stamp close to the fold but not right at it, and I think I'll bring it down a little bit compared to that one. So I'm going to stamp about here, I think. That's not too bad. Maybe a little bit lower than I'd planned, but that's okay. So put my ink away, and then I'm going to bring in my 1/4 inch handheld punch and punch a hole around about there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this bag to the oval like that. So not on the part that's got the stamping and the hole, but the part that I've not done anything with, because that's going to go to the back of my bag. And I'm just going to put a fine line of glue near that fold and then round the inside without going onto the stitched holes, because I don't want the glue to seep through those. And then, oops, very carefully just make sure that I have got the back of my bag. I'm just going to lay this down and butt it up to that fold and just make sure that it's even. Now this oval is just slightly larger than the bag, but that's okay because it actually protects, if you see here, you've got a tiny overlap, but it actually protects these top corners of the bag. So I'll just give that an extra press with my paper folder, and then I'm going to hold the bag with my middle fingers and my thumbs and take my index fingers and just push gently and push those corners in like so, and then I'm going to fold this over here, and I want to make a mark where that hole is, so I'm just going to grab my pencil and I'm just going to trace round inside there, and then that gives me a mark, oops, for punching the hole on the bag as well. So about, oops, it's not wanting to punch for some reason. Here we go. What's wrong with punch? That's because I've still got bits of paper stuck in it, I think. Right, try that again. Just line it up and punch. There we are. I've not emptied bits of paper out of it and it had got stuck. So the next thing I need is a piece of my Misty Moonlight ribbon, which is here, and I always use a mini glue dot just to hold the end down, so I'll get rid of that bit. And then I'm going to cut about, it's about 12 inches of ribbon, so about there. And then what I did was I secured the ribbon to the inside of the bag, so on the inside just below this hole I popped a mini glue dot. So it's probably not going to be that easy for you to see while I'm putting the mini glue dot in, but I'm just sticking it inside the bag just below that hole, so the mini glue dot is about there. And then I'm just going to fold my ribbon in half roughly and pop the folded end through this hole from the front. She said, I can't get a hold of it on the inside of the bag. And then as you can see, it's just sticking through a little bit, and then I'm just going to press that down onto the mini glue dot there. So I'm not going to pull it hard because then I don't want it to come unstuck again. And then these two ends I'm just going to pull through the hole in the cardboard part, or the cardstock part of the bag, pop it together, and there we are. It's come through and it actually holds itself closed. I did use a clip to hold this bag closed, but as you can see it's made a mark, so I don't want to do that on this bag. And then I don't need to tie the initial knot for my bow because it's holding itself quite well here, so I'm just going to put the loops and nothing else. There we are. So I just pull that knot tight and then get the loops to the size that I want them. There we are. I think that's about right there. There we go. Let's pull that in a little bit, I think. There we are. And then I just need to trim the tails. You can leave them as long as you like. You can leave them long or cut them a bit shorter. And the last thing to do is just to add a little bit of bling, and I'm going to come in with my in colour enamel dots and just grab one of the Misty Moonlight ones, which doesn't want to come off. There we go, and pop it just in that bottom corner there. There we are. I think I need some new putty. In fact, I think I need a refill on the end of there. And that's my little bag made. I think that's really quite pretty, and I certainly like the hello being a bit lower than that one, but that's okay. In its own way, it actually makes the bag look a bit taller, and for some reason it does look a little bit taller, but they are actually the same height, but that has made it look taller. So I hope you liked that. I hope you'll make your own as well, and if you haven't already subscribed, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. Definitely give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.